my dollars make it hurt.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Kalayaan Podcast. This is by Arts and Design 12. Today, we have three students, Christine, Gian, and Kathleen, who will be talking about their favorite artists. Let me bring them up on screen. Guys, take it away.
Good day to all students and teachers who are listening to our Kalayaan Podcast. I hope you're all doing well, and if not, I hope your evening will make that for you. I'm Christine, and I'm here with my fellow classmates Kathleen and Gian from the same arts and design strand.
Hi.
This is a live broadcast of around 20 minutes or more, so please do get comfy and enjoy our talk in the background, or however you would like. Gian?
There might be some technical difficulties with Gian, so Kathleen?
So for today's topic, we will be talking about our favorite Filipino artists. Quick question before we start: how do you guys define art, or what is art for you? Christine?
For me, art is everywhere and takes in different forms from what's usually referenced when they say what art is, like paintings, to simple stuff. For example, like the design on our cups and mugs, even writing and movies are art. All these have elements and principles that were thought through it before it became the final product, no?
That's right. Art is also a form of expression that can be done in various different ways. It can be done through physical artworks like paintings, but can also be done through movements or dancing.
Now
Okay,
let's start
let's go on, go on.
now let's start sharing about our favorite Filipino artists. So, to give our viewers and each other some context on who we are talking about, let's give a background on what they do, shall we? Let's go alphabetically by surname. Kathleen, may we start with you?
Sure. One of my favorite Filipino artists is Leroy Liu. He's a trained sculptor, but his works are a mix of theater, fashion, film, design, production, and public art. However, I think he is more known for his beautiful and unique installation artworks.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know much about installation art, so can you tell us a little bit about what is it in his art that made you perhaps like them?
What made me like his art is the fact that he helps bring awareness to the environment. His art also uses commonly found objects and materials like plastic bottles, baskets, and more. One of his famous works is his work in the sand dunes of Paaway, Ilocos Norte, which was a collaboration with the local government. The project was aimed to use discarded water tanks and cement fountains into a post-apocalyptic park filled with extraordinary sculptures. Moreover, through the Burning Man Global Arts brand, Leroy also created a floating performance garden in the most polluted river of Manila, the Pasig River. He and his team made their surroundings much more colorful with bright and eye-catching mural paintings.
I see. It's quite nice to hear about an artist using recyclable materials for their works. I never knew about him, so thank you for the info. What about you, Gian? Can you tell us who your favorite artist is and what made them your favorite, if you can speak now?
Well, one of my favorite Filipino artists is Maya de la Torre. She is a Filipino singer-songwriter who started her career as a voice artist that worked on corporate jingles and theme songs. As an artist, one of the things that I really admire about her is her distinct singing style and voice. Being as a vocal artist who does corporate jingles, she worked and she worked hard and grabbed every opportunity that came. Thus, she is now one of the most popular in-demand music artists in the country.
That's really cool. Do you have any songs you particularly like from her, perhaps?
One of her songs that I really like the most is Tagpuan. She had mentioned in an interview with Boy Abunda that it was the hardest song that she had written as it took her 2 years to write it. The inspiration for that song was from a spoken word poem and a scene from the movie Love You to the Stars and Back, where Joshua Garcia's character was waiting for Julia Barretta's character at a mountain. Moira mentioned that she had trouble finishing the song until she met her husband Jason. They were both traveling back to her hometown Olongapo, and while they were on the road, it just came to her as she looked at him and finished the song in just 10 minutes. She said that she saw what it means by a heartbreak song actually being a song about hope. In a press conference in 2018, Moira mentioned that Tagpuan is about her secret place with God, where she keeps running on him.
Oh, that's really sweet. Sometimes it really is time that lets us finish our work or begin an art, huh?
That's so true. Just recently, I also learned and realized that I don't have to rush my works and that art really does take time sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I guess it's my turn to answer. My favorite artist so far is the visual development and background artist I found on Twitter last year or 2 years ago. Her name is Gillian. I'm not sure if any of you heard of her, but she usually does landscape digitally, which are my favorite from her. And she also paints people and creates character designs for them occasionally as well.
Oh, cool. It's my first time hearing her name. Well, what's your favorite artwork of hers?
Mm, it's hard to pick a favorite from her since they're all very dynamic and colorful. They're fun to study and look at, but I do have to say that I'm usually am not fond of colorful paintings or anything for the matter since they tend to overwhelm me. But hers have a balance. There are areas that are bright, but areas where you can rest your eyes as well with cool tones. She knows where to put her colors, and I really love that. For example, in her Deja Gura painting, she used a lot of reds and yellows, even bright greens, but there are also those that are a darker green. And behind this massive thin mountain that is filled with those colors, there are blue toned mountains behind in mist, you know? So there's really that contrasting balance. This can also be seen in her Chagros Tower, where there's a fiery orange and yellow, but there are purples, dark reds, and blues that make those colors stand out, but just enough not to blind the viewer.
Well, that's interesting how she balances her use of colors in her paintings.
Yeah, I really recommend looking over her arts. And since we're on the topic of Filipino artists, as a Filipino artist, how do you think their works contribute to the industry and country?
For me, I think that Leroy can lead a very remarkable impact on the environmental awareness of the country's people through the use of his art. Even by his works that you can see posted on his Instagram, you can get the thought that, oh, I didn't know that it is possible to do art with normal household materials. And just by this, I think that he can inspire a lot more people, especially the youth, in not only caring for the environment, but also make them believe that art does not have to be expensive.
I get that. Art can be created even from the cheapest crayons and such. How about you, Gian?
I think that Mara's songs and compositions can give inspiration to those young artists of this generation. As mentioned, Moira started as a vocal artist who does corporate jingles. With her determination and passion, she was able to become successful. Way back 2013, she joined the blind auditions for The Voice, where in the first round she was able to move forward, but unluckily she got eliminated in the battle rounds. In 2016, she released her first ever hit single Malaya, which was the official theme song of the film Kampsawi. Also, when she won Himighandog 2017, her interpretation of Titibo Tibo became popular as it also became the jingle of a cologne brand with herself appearing in the advertisement. Being remarkable for making people emotional of her songs, she eventually became an in-demand singer for theme songs in televisions and movies. Through her ups and downs, she indeed had stood strong and never ever stopped pursuing her dreams. Her success proves that hard work and perseverance indeed pays off. How about you, Christine? How do you think Gillian's work contributes to the industry and country?
My answer is kind of similar to Eugene. I think it's her representing the Filipino culture, but to an international audience. Because before I followed her, I didn't know she was Filipino. It was only when she had this project last 2020 about Donna Jeronima, which is a short story by Nick Jaquin, I believe. And she showed the character designs and architecture, the church buildings and the fashion of the characters were wearing with was wearing with whites and laces, and the Bayakubo like houses by the river. I'm not very well versed with fashion and architecture terms, so it's hard for me to describe. But it was really beautiful and exciting to see that an art, to see the art of a fellow Filipino and the reception it had from other Filipinos and even foreigners about our culture. And she also has works featuring this train station that is obviously the LRT, and paintings that like about Filipino Christmas. And she just doesn't stop at just creating art, but she also shares arts from other Filipinos, which was really how I found other artists to follow, like Annie, then Ibon. And it's really nice of her to use her growing platform for spreading news and happenings that are going on in the Philippines, like Odette, which is not too long ago, for example. Mm, Gillian really inspired me to draw the photos I captured while visiting family in Baguio and Sagada. The structure of how the houses are placed across lands and the houses themselves are really different from when I use foreign cities, for example, and towns as reference. I really want to apply the techniques she showed in her art to my own because they're just really nice and unique to me. Which, speaking of, what about you guys? How did your favorites inspire you in your own works?
Just like what I said earlier, Lima really gives you the impression that art can be done using anything and that it doesn't have to be expensive. Because of him, I've gotten inspired to be resourceful with my art and learn how to make use of what I already have. Not only is it saving me money, but it is also very fulfilling to see ordinary pieces become beautiful pieces of art. He also made me look at art from a different perspective. Because of his really unique installation artworks, I've been inspired to think out of the box and try things that I've never done in my art before.
Well, for me, sometimes, when I compose and create my own poems and spoken poetries, I often get inspiration from Moira. For me, she is not only a good singer, but also a good composer herself. I like how she connects stories with her songs and also with great emotions and with great emotion she could perform it very well. Because of her, I also got inspired to connect my poems with my personal experiences and also I get to think of ways to make my poems more meaningful and presentable for the audience.
Hmm, that's really nice. I also get a lot of inspiration from my favorites as well. Even like just listening to music or watching pelikula while you sketch. Which, speaking of, do you guys have other artists who are your favorites that live in the Philippines? In other mediums, I mean?
For me, another artist that I admire is Jose T. Joya. He is one of the Philippines' national artists, and as As someone who loves looking at and making abstract art, he is a huge inspiration to me. His works can go from the warmest colors to the coolest ones, from the softest strokes to the sharpest edges. His artworks are the ones that I always look at for inspiration, especially when I am having a hard time doing my own composition. I just think that there's a lot to learn just by looking at his works. I personally love his work entitled Dimension of Fear, wherein he used blood-like red paint as well as black and gold. He also used huge and ragged edged strokes as well as some dripping elements. Just like the title suggests, he really managed to bring out the tension that fear brings, even when there is no clear form or picture, unlike representational art. I think that's one of the advantages that abstract art has, but also I think that it is what makes it very hard to pull off and achieve. Because unlike representational art, abstract works with freely done strokes and in order to evoke emotions in the painting, and to do that, I think that a painter must have enough knowledge of the basics as well as the emotions that different colors may bring.
Yeah, I get that. Understanding your medium by the textbook or the technicalities of it, as well as elements and principles of art, can really help you cultivate your piece, no? I guess mine is similar to that respect, that she understands the technical side of music. Lea Salonga is the other artist I look up to in the Philippines since I was a kid, because my mom will usually mention her theater plays to us sometimes, and what her singing was like. I also watched her as a kid be a two-time Disney princess or singer in Disney, and will listen to her songs in constant repeat. I don't want to be a professional singer at all, but I'm a stereotypical Filipino music, I guess, in that respect. Like, I sing as much as I breathe, and I find it fun trying to integrate how clear her words are, her pronunciation, especially with my stutter, and how much power she uses depending on the feeling that the character she's playing is experiencing. The delivery should just be understood by the artist, I think, to be a successful one. It should be understood by the audience as well. Even if it's maybe a mystery, there should be a certain communication to lead the person seeing your art towards the message or meaning you want to convey. What about you, Gian? Can you tell us any other artists you like from other mediums?
Besides Moira, I also admire the rappers in our country, one of which is Aristotle Polisco, or also known as Glock 9. He is an award-winning Filipino rapper. What I really like about him is how he composes his rap songs. With his unique fast-flowing vocal style, he is now one of the most successful hip-hop artists in the Philippines. What I really like about Glock 9 is how his songs usually tackle social issues, social injustices, poverty, and patriotism, where he found his inspiration from the late Francis Magalona, where he then decides to write his own lyrics. Unlike the others who usually focus their songs with love nowadays, Glock was actually described as a blacksmith of words and letters and a true Filipino poet by a fellow Filipino rapper, Francis Magalona. Glock, as an award-winning rapper and considered the most successful rap artist in Philippine rap, he has collaborated with a dozen of songs with other OPM artists. Examples are Lando, where he collaborated with the late Francis Magalona, Bagsakan with Parokya ni Edgar, and Sari-Saring Kwento with Noel Cabangon and Champ Louis Pio. He is considered the fastest rapper but doesn't only have the ability to spill 200 words per minute. That makes him exceptional, but also the essence of the lyrics he writes that made it significant. Like Myra, Glock 9's ladder to success was also not easy. He joined various rap contests and took on waitering and service crew jobs until his hard work flourished. In 2000, his composition was picked by Star Records to be part of an original soundtrack album for the movie Trip. Now, he is very busy doing gigs here and abroad.
Oh, I see. I only grew up listening to Glock 9 from the radio and at those certain hours in Studio 23, I think, where they would play the top songs of the country before. So it's my first time hearing more about him as a person and artist. Thank you for sharing that with us, Gian. So I guess that's all for today, no? It's seven. It's already 5:20 na, and we wouldn't want to keep Erin for from their dinner
Thank
time.
you to everyone who tuned in with us in our podcast.
It was really wonderful
Gaku,
to hear about your favorites
nag-vlog
and
na naman
thoughts on
ako.
this
Wala
matter,
na.
guys. Thank you, guys.
Likewise, and I hope that through this short podcast, a lot of you were able to be introduced to different artists of different videos and were given a bit of a perspective on how they work on their masterpieces.
Once again, thank you so much for everyone who attended and for keeping us company in today's Kalayaan podcast. Fellow CFA members, it was lovely of you all to stop by and hear Dervis rambling till this point. Our classmates in this strand will be doing similar topics this month in relation to the arts. So please do be on the lookout for that. We will very much appreciate your presence there. Goodbye, everyone, and may you all have a wonderful evening.